Should we give should we give the benefit of the doubt? Because I mean, in the APC manifesto, they did talk about the fact that yes, they're going to do a lot of reconciliation, set up different committees to look into all this. Should we not just say, well, it's not 4 years yet, give some time that all of this, they'll note it, and then they'll sort some of these things out?
Well, the All Progressive Congress promised to set up a National Conflict Resolution Commission to be able to investigate the various agitations within the polity and embark on reconciliation. We're almost in 2019. The APC itself cannot gather, as you can see what is happening within Atiku, Saraki, Alhaji Tinubu, and the president himself. That party cannot get his house in order. No convention, almost to the 2019 election. So I believe that that particular political party is not in existence, you know. But having said that, I believe that the president owes this nation a responsibility to unite us. We've become more divided than ever before, either on ethnic lines or religious lines. If there are things that people have pointed out in terms of utterances, in terms of appointments, it's the duty of the president as the father of all to be able to sit down on his own or with his cabinet and find a way towards addressing these agitations. The vice president was in Ibokoda, headquarters of Ilaje local government, some 2 days ago. What stops him from going to the southeast?
But he's gone before.
No, in respect of this agitation
about this particular one.
Can't he request for a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu and leaders of the southeast?
But yesterday, we also saw northern governors. They also met and they appealed to Nigerians, look, stop beating drums of war, that they'll take a look at some of this. It's better for the country to be together and rather than spreading some of these messages. So shouldn't we also say by extension, yes, since that is on, it may just escalate and then they pull the country together?
I support that we should encourage all agitators, whether for resource control, whether for recognition, whatever it may be, we must approach it in a way that it will not terrorize people. Because there are complaints against the activities of the IPOB, even in the southeast. They are followed in the Facebook in terms of harassment of law-abiding citizens. So we can't continue in that regard. We must find a way towards ensuring that we rein in the tension that is going on in the land. So I commend the governors of the North, and I think that other parts of the country, especially the Southeast, must find a way to ensure that they have constant dialogue with Mr. Kanu and members of the IPOB to ensure that this does not escalate. But the first condition of that is that the troops should go back to their barracks. Otherwise, it will keep provoking that tension.
So what happens in this situation now that Nnamdi Kanu has pulled out of that meeting with the Southeast governors for Friday, slated for Friday, and he has pulled it out saying that he will not be part of that meeting until there is some level of restoration of trust between the Nigerian government and the IPOB?
No, the reason he gave was that there is an attempt to assassinate him. And so if that is correct, then of course preservation of life is the first principle. But beyond that, I think that it is the Operation Python dance that is provoking that withdrawal. If this operation is taken care of, suspended, withdrawn, and the police is allowed, with support of the military, to take the front responsibility of maintaining law and order and peace, I believe that that dialogue will resume and we'll get out of this tension. Because we cannot go into 2019 election in the way we are currently. And there's an election coming up in Anambra in November, and we can't continue in this tension-soaked atmosphere to expect that there will be election in a way that you can predict a civil conduct that will produce a governor.
But what do the Southeast governors do when they try to rein them in and they keep pulling out and keep threatening no elections here, threatening violent activities? Do they then say, well, if you break the law has to do what it has to do?
No, if you recall, Chamberlain, earlier when the Odua People's Congress started in the Southwest, it was a violent organization. It was asking for self-determination, all manner of...
Not that we're encouraging violent organizations.
No, what I'm saying is that over time, people started engaging them. We met with their leaders, Dr. Fashion and Chief Gani Adams, and began to educate them on the need for them to adopt. We encouraged them to go and register companies, that you can get all our youth who are jobless to become engaged and be taking up security for our people, and actually work with the police towards curbing criminalities. And you see that today in the Southwest, Oodua People's Congress has contributed tremendously towards stabilizing peace and reducing crime. Most neighborhoods now engage them to combat criminals. So I think it's the responsibility of the leaders in the Southeast in particular. I don't think it's proper that you allow Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, whose agenda we don't know, who wakes up with different speeches from different sides of the mouth every day. They should be able to engage him and get him to structure a program that everybody reading it can run with that vision. As it is now, I don't know what he wants.
Do you think that perhaps the Eastern governors have that level of harmony that suggests that the East is actually ready for a developmental plan?
If you look at what is going on in the country, the East has been ready right from the period we ended the war. But the federal government has neglected them totally. Everything going on in the Southeast is a matter of self-development by the individuals, by their indigenes, giving their industry and diligence. And I must commend that. But we cannot allow the situation to rubbish that. All we ask for, all I think the people of the Southeast are asking for is federal presence. I mean, who is the most notable person in this regime that you can point out from the Southeast? Chief Ogbonnaya, Minister of Science and Technology. And what is it, technology? I mean, nothing is happening in that ministry. What I will say, therefore, is that there's no way you can stop this agitation.
What about Minister of Labour?
Well, if you can see so many strikes.
They just started out some strike now.
So many strikes going on in the country. We're talking about positions that influence decisions in security agencies, in terms of Minister of Works and Housing. What is wrong with making somebody from the South is Minister of Works and address all the roads in that area? Or even if you don't appoint that person, the person who is appointed there now should focus effort on those areas and let us see that there are developments indeed going on there. How many federal institutions are there? There are none.
We still have the Ikoromadu, the Deputy Senate President, who is
by election. That's by election.
Yes, but they have powers to make those votes that will work for development in the East.
That should go across board. It should reflect in everywhere, especially in the security. Recently, you saw the thing going on in the social media about the appointments in the National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), whereby there was no single person from the Southeast in those leadership positions. I mean, those things provoke a lot of agitation. And so I think that the federal government, as Nigeria as we exist now, if we still continue to say they should not secede, then bring them on board and recognize them. But I think in this current problem we are facing now, the federal government has embarked on an illegal action by deploying troops, number one, contrary to the act of the National Assembly, number two, without the approval of the National Assembly.
So you expect the National Assembly to look into this matter upon resumption from the...
A motion urgently should be passed, and all activists, lawyers, Nigerian Bar Association, people of good conscience should be able to appeal to the president, who must have given the directive to withdraw that directive. Let the police take care of whatever it is that is resulting to seemingly breakdown of law and order. Surely not the military.
Thank you for coming on this morning, Mr. Ebun-Olu Adegboruwa, a legal practitioner.